Hey YouTube, Coppersan here. Today we're checking out the second most popular, the most created, most leveled up archer class, the Knight of Cygnus Wind Archer. Only the Pathfinder class has barely more level 250 characters, but I don't think that will be for long. Pathfinders were quite overpowered when they were released and have gotten hit pretty hard with the nerfs over time, while Wind Archers only kept getting better, receiving a bigger remaster last winter, which made the class even more popular. By the way, Pathfinder mains, your class is getting some minor buffs and improvements in the upcoming Savior update in the summer, so stay tuned for that one. Actually, is anyone still playing Pathfinder as a main or as a bossing mule? Please raise your hands in the comments. The Wind Archer though is remaining unchanged in the upcoming 4 months or so, but what causes all these Maplers to be blown away by the Wind Archer? That's what we intend to find out today in why everyone plays Wind Archer. Wind Archer's rise to the top was quite a long journey. While their core kit always was very solid, after their first rework they still had quite a bit of clunk, having to manage 10 different buffs, and their mobbing was definitely less than fantastic until the 5th job advancement was released back in 2016. This class was characterized by having a lot of buffs to manage, which is not a good unique thing to have, and I think a lot of people agree with that opinion. Wind Archers also cannot walk while using their Song of Heaven hurricane style attack, so when grinding early on they have to jump attack like other classes while using their short cooldown 5th job skills and their other grinding skills. Grinding isn't super amazing or anything like that, but the 5th job skills are pretty good for mobbing. Vortex Spear, for example, is a skill that sucks in the monsters as it travels slowly across the map. It has a huge range and the damage is pretty good as well. The cooldown of the skill is only 30 seconds, so you can use it pretty often. You can also spawn tornadoes with the Howling Gale, and the Merciless Wind skill is a 10-second cooldown attack that pops out a ton of high damage dealing arrows. This combined with the improved Air Dash Shower and Phalanx Charge, which is a common Cygnus Knight 5th job skill. Some Wind Archers can train in the map by just standing still and spamming their attacks looking left and right, using their tornadoes, summons and other AoE attacks to take care of the monsters in the map. So early on you'll be jump attacking a lot, and later on it's gonna get lazier and lazier. Also, I just realized I never worked on my notes with this character. Oops. If you're playing this class as a bossing mule and you are short on nodes, you can get away with having just one boost node with Trifling Wind, Song of Heaven and Stormbringer. If you're also grinding a lot, having other nodes with Fairy Spiral and some other lower priority skills like Monsoon and Pinpoint Pierce, for example, isn't too bad either. The nodes are pretty simple. They do enjoy though having more skill nodes like Guided Arrow. For that additional arrow to pop out, you can never have enough arrows flying around on the screen. You need Vicious Shot to boost your critical damage way past their normal constraints. This 5th job buff is super useful and only archers can get it. It's very powerful. And like I mentioned, the summoning skills like Phalanx Charge and Air Dash Shower are great to boost your grinding as well. But grinding is not really what this class is known for. Wind Archers are one of the most amazing boss killers in the game. I believe, if I remember this correctly, Wind Archer actually was the first class to solo the Black Mage. Before Ignition, that is, as well. Wind Archers have 2 skills that allows them to stick to bosses while putting in minimum effort. Bossing with this class is a breeze. It's so easy, you could argue it's actually kinda broken. I don't like using that word, but it's actually kinda broken. First up we got Gale Barrier. This skill blocks up to 300% of HP from attacks. It's like a big beefy shield. You don't take any damage whatsoever when the shield is up, and it only has a 90-second cooldown. And that combined with your ability to stay in the air using your Windwalk skill, dodging attacks is super easy, barely an inconvenience. And if that doesn't blow your mind, to make things even easier, Wind Archers can summon a crystal with the skill Emerald Flower. This crystal draws in boss monsters and debuffs them, lowering monster defense and slowing them down. Bossing with this class is so safe thanks to this skill. Boss monsters just attack the crystal, they don't even look at you. This works wonders for most bosses, except for maybe some earlier game bosses like Chaos Akum, who just attack everything everywhere all at once. This class isn't all powerful though, and there are some things that have been holding it back slightly, so it doesn't become the most popular class ever. For example, they are the only class that cannot move with their hurricane style attack, locking you in place as long as you hold the button down. You can tap it though to give the illusion of walking. That can be a tad annoying though. And some of your 5th job skills are not that great for bossing. For example, Vortex Spear travels in the direction that you fire it. But if you got a moving boss like Damien, it can be harder to get all the hits off. The skill does slow down by 50% for 1 second if it hits a boss monster though. So that is nice, but if you are unlucky you can just miss a big chunk of your damage. Their Howling Gale skill that summons those gusts that attack and chase enemies. But in some boss fights like Lucid, where there are a lot of platforms, your gusts can just simply fall off the platform and then you just lose all that damage. This skill also did get a slow mode. It can be toggled on and off by right clicking the skill. And after the ignition update, you can summon 3 gusts for even more damage. But still there are some annoyances here and there with some boss fights. When you're bossing, you place down your crystal, you use the pinpoint pierce attack to apply a debuff that increases Wind Archer's damage and ignore defense by 15% when attacking the affected monster, and then you just kinda go ham with your skills. This class can stick to bosses like no other, thanks to their shield and their crystal, and with the buffed burst, and then I put burst in quotation marks, after the ignition update, this class is getting more and more popular by the day. I actually wasn't that much of a fan of the ignition remaster. I think it was kinda lackluster. Some of the skills are a bit too bright for me as well, and I just wish the class could finally move with the Hurricane attack, Song of Heaven, and I just wanted the better main mobbing skill, but I guess this class would be unstoppable if it got that many buffs. Wind Archer is the perfect bossing mule or main for those Maplers looking for easy bossing while also keeping track of all your short cooldown skills. Their base stats are pretty okay as well. They have high critical rate, being an archer and all, and they get a little bit of boss damage and ignore defense boosts from their passives. But they also have 2 debuffs from Pinpoint Pierce and the Crystal to further lower monster defense. Their Hurricane skill, Song of Heaven, can be buffed up with their Hyper skills to also deal 20% more damage against boss monsters and ignore more defense. And I just realized that Wind Archers also have a toggle to get 10% more damage. Glad to see this skill is still a toggle, so I can turn it off when I want to deal less damage when come on, next one. Oh, and there's actually one more thing that would help this class gain a lot of popularity. This class is actually very fun to look at. With all the small projectiles flying around, it's just nice. It's just fun to look at. I don't have other way to put it. Even though I'm still of the opinion that the skills are too bright now, it's always fun to see all those arrows flying around chasing monsters. But that was all the Wind Archer propaganda I had for you today. That's why I think everyone plays Wind Archer. But what do you think of the class yourself? Let me know in the comments. And as always, many thanks to our members for making these videos possible. Special thanks to Niels de Coninck, Raar maar waar, Sebastian Hanoy, Ryalias, Terry Kim, Vareese, Cowdy Mora, Wiley, Historycanon, BackSpaceOTI, Saffronyx, Ziggy Deer, Flidiot, Knifesu, Cloudfix, Gusus Rodriguez, Digby, Vira, Trevor, Michael Menchaca, Ratius, Justin Vale, Silvio Nato, Afterlord _ MS, Striker Elk, Tidal Pun, Radical Jaws, Ricer RU, Sir Tito 655, Mathias Simonson, PC Game Life, The Passenger, Martin Panzik, Conrad Cristales, Ace Light, Mr. Narc, Ben Wolf, Max Bernhardt, Mukar 1017, B&B King, Scotty Flies Fast, Priscilla, Brennan Cam, Vague Botnet, Fecco, Victor Sunstrom, ceemak, Only, Rashid Alarudi, Galando Balavia, Gianfranco Calderon Canavedo, Lucky Beats, Matinho Dev, Gummy Bullet, Lord Fazil, Spats the Kaiser, Zonnen, Dead Archer Guy, Rocco, Gabrielek, Louis Bento Brandao, Dante Victory, Snafflepop, and Astivalia. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe and happy mapling.